Welcome back. In this particular video, I would like to focus on the IT auditor's role in system development lifecycle. So now the question is this. Usually, system development is done by a system analyst or the team or within an organization. It doesn't matter whether you outsource or develop by yourself. So that's a team involved. So why IT auditor to be involved in? What is the IS auditor's role? It's something that I would like to discuss in this video. So there are two main focus that IS auditor can do for system development. Number one, the IS auditor can report to senior management independently and inform the senior management about system development process. Number one. The number two is whether the controls has been embedded to the system development process itself. That's very important here. For example, your system would like to have audit trails. Say, for example, there is going to be financial transactions after when more than $1 million transaction has happens. Every time there will be audit trail. So it has to be embedded to system development if it's a financial banking system itself, for example. So this is very important that those controls be embedded to the time that system is being built. Otherwise, it's going to be more costly as well as may not be effective. So it's very important that auditors would be involved in the system development process. So this is basically the basic system development steps that we discuss. So what we are going to do is we are going to look at step by step and see the auditor's involvement in this system development life cycle. So number one, we talk about feasibility. In this feasibility study, so we see that whether that developing a new system is the best way to handle the current problem we have it. That means whether the solution can be helpful, for example. At the same time, do we really need to develop a system? It's a critical situation, as well as cost and benefit. Whether it's possible for us to develop by ourselves, whether we need to do the outsourcing. So these are the most important thing that we need to do. So auditor himself could be something consultant, something can give advice to the team as well as to senior management about the feasibility of developing a new system and whether it's the in-house, whether it's going to be outsourced or not. Then it's requirement phase. Remember, this is the most important step in system development life cycle, because during this phase, we are trying to communicate to the users who are the one who's going to use the system, and if we don't give them enough time to give us their input, no matter how good you think the system is, system will be retired very fast. So whether we try to reach them out, and whether that we really look at their responses, and then whether we try to cover all the user segments. At the same time, whether that we have communicated with the senior management and whether they are happy with the requirement definition phase. So this is something that basically auditors going to look at it and give some independent consultation. So the design phase, that is, remember, so we have the 3A and 3B. 3A means in-house development. So in-house development, so we use, the team members may use different system development methodologies, techniques, right? And then maybe data flow diagrams, maybe user diagrams, maybe different kind of ER diagrams, interrelationship diagrams, so on and so forth. The auditor going to look at the techniques that system development team has been used and see whether those are proper system development methodologies. So that's something that they can give advice. And 3B selection, as you could remember, that is for the outsourcing. So when you do the outsourcing, there are two main important documents that we have seen it, which are RFQ and RFP. Remember, RFQ means we know there are some software package available would help us that we can buy it or maybe a little bit modified and use it, and then we are asking for quotation. RFP means we have no idea if any system is available, so we give the list of requirement what we need, and then we are asking for some organizations, some system developers to give us proposals with the quotation together. So in this case, we should make sure that when we do the RFP and RFQ, whether that your system analysis system development team follow the organization guidelines, policies and procedures in terms of system development. That's very important here, okay? As well as that key members and stakeholders involved in, finally, so whatever the cost the organization is going to give it to you, the developer is going to give it to you, whether it's reasonable enough, and make sure that the developer is reliable, whether you communicate with their clients, the previous clients, and get the feedback of the reliability, and finally give to management to make the management feel comfortable of whatever the decision that you're going to make in terms of RFP and RFQ. So development phase, it is again in-house development. So as I mentioned to you before, the development phase, the most important step in the development phase is testing. And when we do testing, we should come up with the test plan, very, very important. So how we are going to test your system. So we don't want to have troubles after system has been implemented. So we discuss about unit testing, we talk about integrated testing, right? And then we talk about file system testing. So as an IT auditor, auditors should look into that and make sure that they do have a proper test plan, as well as, so when you do the test plan, unit testing, integrated testing, and system testing, we usually use test data. Finally, we call it UAT, user acceptance test planning. So that's very important. Usually when you do the user acceptance test, we do real data, basically, and then users are involved in the user acceptance test. So we look at test plan as well, and then after test been done, we have to review the test results and see which areas need to resolve, whether errors has been properly resolved, and then whatever the implementation has been correctly done, and then of course recording as follow-up errors as well. So now it comes to implementation. So when we discuss system implementation, whether we have to do a lot of things, like we have to do the training for the users, as well as one of the very important things that we talk about is system changeover methodologies. So that means how are we going to retire the old system, how we are going to introduce a new system. So that's again very important, system changeover methodologies. If you could remember, we had different system changeover methodologies. We call parallel changeover, we call phase changeover, we call abrupt or direct cutover. So we look at here which methodology is going to be the most important. But remember, so when we make that decision, we look at two important things, the risk and the cost as well. So as an IT auditors can give some recommendation to the audit team and see that, and in terms of cost and the risk, especially the risk. So auditors will be able to give a little bit better risk assessment and of course the recommendation to the system development team. So that's, we call it in the system implementation phase. Finally, the post-implementation phase. As we mentioned to you before, the post-implementation done within 3 to 6 months of the system development, and main objective is whether system has achieved what it's supposed to be. So who are the people who has to do it? So basically again, users should be involved in the post-implementation review, and the person who should conduct the post-implementation review should be the IS auditor, not someone involved in system development process itself. So that's maybe if a given IT auditor is going to be a consultant for system development process, the post-implementation has to be done by a different IS auditor. So it's very important that somebody was not involved in system development process is doing the post-implementation review, and then make sure that with the system, when we do the post-implementation review, we can see whether the system has done good feasibility study, whether we used the proper system development methodologies, right? Understand? And whether the users are happy with the system. So that is what we do in the post-implementation review. So these are the different steps that we discuss, and IS auditors' involvement of system development process would definitely make a difference, and most importantly, the controls been embedded and risk has been reduced of system development process. Good to have you all.